Oh, I'm out trying out my new windscreen today with the camera. Hopefully you'll be able to see a bit more of the road, I mean. I'm going to tell you a story today. I've recorded it, so it'll be a sort of like a voiceover. Kind of story. It didn't show me in a very good light, but you know, I never said I was always a good fella. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and go to the voiceover, unless something dramatic happens. Here's the story coming up. Did you see on the news about the young man who escaped from Wandsworth prison? He was clinging onto the underside of a lorry. I just think it's unbelievable that he could escape in this way. I mean, surely if you are guarding the gates to a prison and there's a lorry coming in and out, that's the first place you would look, isn't it? Perhaps nobody told them that's what the big mirrors on sticks were for. Or maybe a bit of complacency set in, eh? Or one of the screws had brought donuts in and they were a bit distracted. Or maybe it was an inside job. He was, this young guy who escaped, he was an ethnic young man. I think that's the best way of putting it. And he was on remand for suspected terrorism offences. He hadn't even been on trial yet. I mean, he could be found not guilty and walk free. Seems a bit odd to me, the whole bloody situation. Wandsworth Prison is a shithole of a place. Believe me, I know that for a fact. I spent several months in there on remand in 1970, I think it was. And it was a shithole of a place then. And apparently no work has been done to improve the conditions since then. I'm not saying that convicted prisoners should live in luxury. Far from it. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime, as they say. I reckon if you commit a crime, you should spend time in a shithole, in my opinion. Make you think twice in future. Look at me, Mr. Fucking Perfect. When I was in there, I used to think of escaping all the time. I think it's a natural thing to do. Nobody likes being incarcerated. That's a good word, isn't it? So yeah, you think of ways of getting out. I can't remember if I thought of any good ways of escape. But it was all nonsense anyway for someone on remand. Not much point in it unless you knew for certain you were going down for a long time. I did have one good chance to escape when I was waiting at court. All of us who were up for trial were all in this same room. It didn't seem very well protected. I'm pretty sure I could have just done a runner. But it would have been pointless. It's no fun being a wanted man and being on the run. Ask me how I know. Well, okay, I have been on the run. In London it was. They were looking for me. They knew it was me that did it, the crime. Because I'm a fucking idiot. Millions of people in London, but you still imagine that everyone is looking at you. You move furtively, I'm not kidding. You try to avoid being seen, even in the shadows. It's fucking madness. I mean, I knew the police were looking for me, but the general public never knew me from Adam. I had a lot of money on me. I was worried about that too. I'd never had so much money in my life, and it was all bulky too. There was 3 or 4 blue cotton cash bags. I had it stuffed all over me, bloody awkward. Finally, I bought a duffel bag. Do you remember them? Felt a bit better then, but I held on to that bag very tight. I didn't want anyone else getting hold of my ill-gotten gains. I stayed in a small hotel in Paddington for a few days, feeling paranoid all the bloody time. I even spoke with a Scottish accent to try and disguise who I was. Honestly, I thought I had a sign on my back saying "wanted." Anyway, finally I got on a train and I headed south to Cornwall. No idea why, really. I mean, I should have headed to Scotland, where at least I had some family. But anyway, I felt safer down in Cornwall, would you believe? I tell you what, it's a bit mad because, in fact, being a stranger to an area like Cornwall, you'd be more likely to raise suspicion, I think. Well, look, I'll cut this long story short. I went back to London after a few weeks, and one day I saw a couple of policemen. I think it was in Leicester Square. I saw a couple of policemen just standing there, so I went up and said, I think you're looking for me. I gave myself up. I'd got fed up, over my shoulder. Yes, I gave myself up. But I'll tell you, you know what? When I went to court, you know what these coppers said? They said they had arrested me for loitering. Bloody liars. No, honestly, I gave myself up to them. You just can't trust the police at all. Anyway, that young man who escaped recently, he's been recaptured. He only lasted a couple of days out. Seems like he hadn't planned beyond the actual escape. I have some idea of how he felt on the run. I actually feel a bit of sympathy for him. Only in that respect, though. I mean, he could be a terrorist. Not that he's been found guilty of anything. But good on him for the escape. That's what I say. That took a lot of courage. Ah, that's it, I can talk again. From home. Hope you enjoyed the story. Hope you weren't too shocked. I learnt my lesson. Look, there's my dog under the fence. I can see you, Mia. Right, thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.